channel Coffee Talks. I am Phil Koska. This is Jack, and our guest today is Mr. Patrick, Bavarian Overlander.
Hi.
Welcome to the fun. Sure. So by the screen name, obviously Bavarian Overlander. So you're in Germany. Where exactly in the country are you?
I'm between Munich and Garmisch-Partenkirchen. It's close to the border to Austria.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So southern Germany, for those of you who have not studied a German map like I have.
Yeah.
Cool.
So normally the closest city everyone knows is Munich because of Oktoberfest, or maybe FC Bayern München, the soccer fans. So I'm not a big soccer fan. I'm more in ice hockey or American football. But yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's jump straight in. And if you have any questions, always shoot the group of us an email, questions@overlanddc.com. And then let's check out your rides.
Yeah, it was my first car. I got it from my grandma. So, and yeah, it's bringing me from point A to point B. I was not wet anymore. So it was not the Rocket. It's a 90 brake horsepower Opel Corsa with a 1.4 liter gas engine. So nothing fancy, but it do its job and had a blast of a time with the car.
It looks like you did a little bit of things to it and a little bit of stance and everything.
Yeah, nothing can be original.
Amen to that. Yeah, that's how we are at my house too.
Yeah, the front bumper was changed because of a rapid accident. A rapid thinks, oh, this car looks nice. I jump into it. Yeah.
That's awesome. What's MSC Tegernsee?
Yeah, that's a motorsport club in Bavaria. And Tegernsee is a region. It's nearby a sea. And that's why they call them MSC, so Motorsport Club at Tegernsee.
Okay. And I have a feeling, is that what got you into the next vehicle we're going to show?
That's more the end stadium of the whole race car scene at mine. So I started with a VW Polo Cup in Germany, and then to a Seat Leon Supercopa, and then 2 years Porsche Carrera Cup, and then 2011 I started for Mercedes-Benz in the European GT3 Championship. So wow. That's this car.
That's pretty awesome. What was it like driving an AMG like that?
It's pretty hard to compare with a road car. The acceleration is quite, you can compare it with a pretty fast car. The major difference are with the braking power. If you brake with a car like this, it's more like get a sledgehammer in your chest. So that's pretty impressive if you're hitting the brakes maybe 100 meters away from the apex of the corner with 200 kilometers an hour. So, and get the corner.
Wow.
Yeah, awesome. That was a blast of a time with the car.
I believe that. Well, what brought you into this vehicle?
A good friend of mine who I meet at the circuit races bring me to Portugal. He was a Portuguese and also was the team principal of this car, and say, what do you think about off-road racing? And I say, I've never done it before. It had 4 wheels, a steering wheel. How can possibly get wrong? So I'm in. Yeah.
That's awesome. And where were you racing this? It was in Portugal?
Yeah, it was in Portugal. It was the 24 hours. It was their race every year with guys all over the country come to there from France, from Spain, Germany, from all over the world. Azoren, some guys come from the Azoren. It's an Insel group there. So it was pretty nice, and yeah, was a hell of a weekend for me.
Yeah, I imagine. So for 24 hours, you're racing the whole time? How does that work?
You have more drivers on the car. So we was there with 3 drivers, 4 drivers possible. So if nobody gets sick or have some other issues, you can change the driver pretty regularly, but sometimes you're in trouble. So a guy has problems with the night or problems with her stomach, eating something wrong. So it depends on how fit the group is, how much time you're sitting behind the steering wheel.
I can imagine this sounds very much like the Baja races that we have down in Baja, Mexico, kind of these long distance races over washboards, things like that. What was the course like on that ride?
So it was a round course with 14 kilometers a lap. So, and there was jumps, fast lefts, water crossing, all the funny stuff. The biggest change, or the biggest thing for me, was the spectators. So it was in Portugal, 24-hour race is more like a Group B rally stage in the 80s. So you came flat out over a left turn with 130 kilometers an hour and more, and the spectators crossing your road. And that's pretty intense if you see this the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an amazing race. So we have hard competition. We was not the fastest car, but we have pretty good drivers on the car and make a good appearance there.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, and that's bringing more or less to the off-road scene. And I look around and I say, I want to make something with my wife. So not the fancy hotel stuff vacation, so more the basic, out of the comfort zone, or yeah, have silence and everything else, what to calm down a little bit. So that's why the reason we are also go to the off-road and to the overlanding.
Very cool. So let's get into what vehicle you overland with now.
So that's the JKU from my wife. So normally the JK should be a daily driver, so not the fancy off-road overlanding rig it's now. So that's also the reason why we not buy a Rubicon. So that's the reason why it was a Sahara. So in Germany you have not that much trim levels. So you have a Sport, you have a Sahara, and you have a Rubicon at the JKU. So, and the biggest problem was the JKU as a Rubicon. You can get it with a leather trim to this time. Now you can get it, but at this time there's only canvas seats in it. So my wife wanted the leather trim, so it would be a Sahara.
That's good. Yeah, my wife and I have talked about JKUs or JLUs, and every time, she wants the leather, she wants the Sahara package, she wants the heated seat, like, but Rubicon. Yeah, totally understand.
Yeah, but for us it was never the story to make a overland rig out of this. So that's we don't think about a 44 Dana front axle or something like this, or lockers or something. It's only just a daily driver, but look at them.
So what was it that inspired you to go ahead and start putting all the off-roading gear on it and getting all the upgrades to it?
Oh, the first was the steel bumper from AEV. So in Germany you have their more or less pretty ugly front bumper with a plastic front bumper. And my wife said, oh, I can't see it. We have to change this. So, okay. let's start the the party. So yeah, we put the premium front bumper from AEV on it, and it stays pretty bone stock for 2 years, 3 years. And then yeah, things start to change. So my wife say, oh, look at the other Jeeps, there are nice tires, and say, yeah, so if you want big tires, it doesn't work if you have not the right suspension. So, and if you have the right suspension, you need a longer drive shaft, and here we go.
Mhm. Open the can of worms, and here's all the
Yeah.
cool things you can do.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
what
pretty
tires
lucky
did
to-
you end up going with?
That's the 315. So it's the conversion to the 35-inch
Oh wow.
in the US. So, and yeah, we have the beginning, we have there a 4.5-inch AEV RS suspension package there. And yeah, it was rides pretty fine and pretty, yeah, from the whole characteristic, the car drives pretty stock. It doesn't feel it's that much higher or something like this. For me, it was a pretty big thing to make the car off-road capable, but you also can go on the road and have not the whole death weapon or something. The car drove all over the lanes, or the typical Jeep driving style is
Yep.
Mhm.
Well,
Very
cool.
cool.
What
Yes.
other upgrades have you done?
Oh, okay. So we changed the headlights, we changed the fog lights, we changed the tail lights, we changed light bars on the hood, over the windscreen. Then the bumper, the skid plate. We changed suspension. We changed the rear bumper, tire carrier, Ursa minor rooftop. So yeah.
I think
This
it'd be
goes-
easier to ask him what wasn't changed at this
What's
point.
still stock?
The engine is still stock.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to know
Because-
about that too, and I saw that it has the the common rail diesel, and
Yes.
we didn't get that in the United States on the JKU. They now have a diesel on the JL, but we didn't
Yeah.
get that motor.
The 2.8 is a pretty good engine for me. If you look at some things, it's pretty reliable in my opinion. So the car from us had at the moment 180,000 kilometers on the clock. So, and it runs quite fine. So if you look at the temperature, the common radius is a little bit, how should I say it? He's run really hot if you not look at some things to change this. So that's the reason why I have a bigger fan installed and
Yep.
something like this.
Yeah, it does seem like Jeeps do seem to run hot. I've had a lot of 3 different Jeeps I've had in the past, and I've replaced radiators on the side of the road multiple times. I've tried to repair radiators. That never goes well. And you know, they're always running hot, right? So you've compensated by putting in a larger radiator, it sounds like.
No, the radiator is the stock radiator.
Oh, you
But
just
with
have the aftermarket cooler?
Yeah, again, it's a bigger fan. It's a thing. Some of the Jeep dealers in Germany also build some aftermarket stuff by her own. So, and a Jeep dealer in Allgäu, it's a part of Bavaria. They built the bigger fan conversion for the diesel, and that helps really much.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
For some of our non-EU, some of our non-German listeners, can you explain what the process is like when you decide that you want to modify your Jeep?
The US guy, I think all of the US guys starting to laugh and smack their head. So if you want to change in Germany a part on the Jeep, you always need a certification from the TÜV. You need a certification that you can build this part on your car. yeah, and it's not that easy. So maybe you need money to become the certification, or some of the parts have the certification for Germany, but it's for the production company, it's not that cheap to get it. So it's always a trick and treat play. Yeah. So best, I think the best thing that can explain it, in the US, you can put tires on. They can stand out of the car. Nobody cares. So that's the thing I think the thing goes in the US. In Germany, normally the tires has to stand inside the car. Okay, you look at this and you say, okay, it's quite in the car, but it's not in the car. So that's the march of the guy who can make the certification. He can say, okay, that's in the gap between it's legal or not legal. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so it sounds like it's a whole process when you want to go and you're like, hey, let me just throw on these 40-inch tires instead of these 35s. Not only do you have to do a whole bunch of math and suspension changes, but then there's paperwork, it sounds like.
Yeah. So if you want to change to a 40-inch tire in Germany, there's so much things to do. That's incredible. So that's maybe it's too much for the hour we have to explain the whole process. So
Sure.
I can tell you, if you have a Jeep in Germany with 40-inch tires on it, this guy had a hell of a ride to make the whole thing works.
Oh man, wow. Well, that's pretty interesting. That's crazy. What about overlanding, right? What do you like to do? Where do you like to go for camping and for off-roading and for all of these things?
So off-roading in Germany, it's the most scene of off-roading is in the off-road parks. So the normal off-roading, like you guys in the US know it, it's not that possible. So you cannot drive a mountain road up just for fun and camp there. So it's not so easy. If you want to go off-roading in Europe, you go to Italy, you go to Spain, Romania, in the northern countries like Finland, Sweden, something like this. So there are more the destination for an overlander than Germany.
Okay. So when you want to go off-roading, that's what you do. You just fill up the tank and you head over to Italy and you head over to. All right. Wow.
So if we want to go off-roading, we pump up the gas in the car. And the first thing you do is a 700-kilometer highway ride. So to Italy.
Wow. Well, I mean, you guys must be kings of the highway, right? That's why you've got the Autobahn, so you can get there quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And that's also the reason why I want a suspension who has a normal ride comfort.
Sure.
If a long highway trail. So yeah.
How many kilometers an hour are you driving that on your Jeep? You doing like 120, or what's your normal top speed when you're on the Autobahn?
So my sweet spot with the JK is 110 kilometers an hour. So that's the sweet spot. The common rate diesel doesn't take that bad situation with diesel, so we have a good miles per gallon. You don't need a lot of fueling stops, so that make the lives easy.
Okay.
So about 70 miles an hour or so if you don't want to do kilometer math.
Yeah. 68.35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
According to the back of the napkin.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
Wow. Right on.
Interesting.
Well, so that's like your normal cruising speed. What's your top speed?
The top speed with this, or the top speed you can go in Germany?
In the JK, we know you're doing 200K an hour when you get in the mood on.
So you can go with the JK with a stock JK. I have to say, with a stock JK, you go 178 kilometers an hour, but it's not built for this. So it's not a race car; it's an overlanding rig. So it's more convenient to drive 110 than 170.
Well, 178 kilometers an hour is 110 miles an hour. And if I'm driving a Jeep that fast, wow, there's a lot of vibrations. There's a lot of road noise. When I had my JKU, my 2008 JKU, when we did 75 up a mountain road, we were lucky to be doing 75 up a mountain road, because sometimes that V6. So that's the difference. I had a V6 and it was a 3.4 liter V6 in the 08 JKs, and that was literally the Dodge
Minivan.
It was the minivan.
Okay.
It was the minivan's engine. It was so embarrassing, I have to tell you. So yeah, you've got a lot more power with that diesel with the CRD, and I bet you it's a lot better of an experience driving.
Yeah, but it's not the normal speed you have to go with a JK.
Yeah.
For sure. So that's a one time and only for minutes. But you shouldn't do this.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. And then so for in a normal car, in a non-off-roading car, what's the fastest you've gone on the Autobahn?
What can the car bring? It's pretty easy.
There's the question.
So if you have a SRT, a Grand Cherokee SRT, so you can go 260 kilometers an hour. So, or you're sitting in a Porsche Carrera, you go 312 kilometers an hour. So it depends on the car you drive.
Yeah.
And it depends on which part of the German Autobahn system you are. You have region with limitation, with a lot of limitations, and you have regions where it's good to go. If you want, you can go 300 and plus if the Autobahn is right. So it's
cool.
Wow, 312. That's 193 miles an hour. That is fast.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. But the Autobahn should be empty if you do this.
Yeah.
You have you can do this in Germany, legal, but the biggest problem are the other cars around you. Not everyone imagined that you came with 300 plus behind him. So he wants to overtake another car and pull out with maybe 100 or 130. And you hammer there. So that's not the best idea. So yes, it's legal, but you have to watch out.
Yeah, we definitely want to be prudent. Well, there's a public service announcement. If you're driving on the Autobahn, make sure, be aware of who's coming up behind you driving rapidly.
Yeah.
There you go.
And never think you are the fastest on the Autobahn.
Amen.
Okay, and now we'll talk about what's your Overland anthem.
Yeah, my Overland anthem is from the band Modern Earl. It's from the CD In-Laws and Outlaws. I like this CD really much. That's the right sound to take a 700-kilometer ride with no problem. So it's more the easy stuff. It's nice to hear, nothing fancy, good music for overlanding.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'd love to listen to it, but we don't want to get taken down. So we'll have to listen to it on our own. And if it's cool, awesome. We'll make sure we add it to the playlist and get it in.
If you want to hear it, if you want to hear it, go on YouTube, find the band. They have things on YouTube, so that's not the case.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Yeah, I looked them up on Spotify and I'll bookmark it and listen to it. It looks good.
Yeah.
So we didn't ask you this last time. So what's your Overland anthem?
I knew this was going to come up, and I have to do some thinking and get back to you on this one. I've literally just started building out an Overland playlist of soundtracks. Like I really like the spaghetti western, the Clint Eastwood,
Wow.
Hang 'em High, for a few dollars more, a fistful of dollars. Those that Ennio Morricone stuff is great for just cruising around, especially out here where it's the Wild West. It
Literally.
works really well. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I've started working on a Spotify playlist. Maybe we'll share that in the Discord and maybe start a thread on post some good music.
absolutely.
Keep working on
That's
that.
a great idea. We'll definitely
Nice.
put that in there. For me, the song that, at least for right now, is by an artist named Camp. It's got 2 A's in it, CAAMP, Camp. And the song that just really is stuck in my brain right now is By and By. And it's a real fun song. I heard it the very first time when I was moving back from DC, and I was in West Virginia when I heard the song, and that plays into the lyrics. Driving through West Virginia. And so it's just like, it's one of those things where you meet a new artist for the very first time, and it just gets totally put in on you, right? So that song, every time I'm off-roading, I'm listening to Camp, I'm listening to By and By, and I've got all that stuff going. But yeah, no, this is our first time bringing out the Overland Anthems, and I think that Spotify list on the Discord, that'll be awesome. I can't wait to see what everybody else puts in theirs.
For sure.
All right, now we can move into build picks. Well, Patrick, we'll start with yours since you're the guest. Who's your Overland influencer?
Yeah, I go with Way Alive. I like the channel. They make a lot of good content. I love it, really. The builds who he make was really inspiring for me. He started with a JK. He have a JL. He have different JL, so not the normal JL. Also a JL Sport. He have a Gladiator, a bunch of old Wranglers. He have a whole fleet of cars you can look at and see what he's done and changed, and yeah, going better. And that's pretty good for me to see it. And also he has a lot of content with overlanding videos, the whiskey run or something like this. That's pretty cool to see what you guys in the US do with the cars and how you enjoy the whole overland thing in the US.
Yeah, I noticed that it looks like they hail from Texas, and Texas also has a large problem like you do out in Germany, where there's just not public land with a lot of use for it. So I'm wondering if these guys, they must have a bunch of property and friends with property if they're going out and doing a bunch of stuff.
The thing what I know about Way of Life is he's starting from Nevada to Colorado, near
Okay.
the Rubicon Trail, and then move back to, I think, Arizona, but I'm not sure. He's now pretty close to Mel Ward from Off-Road Evolution.
Okay. Well, yeah, I must have misread that, but yeah, that's really cool. I mean, obviously, that's a really sick fleet of Jeeps. I mean, I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at an old CJ, some of the YJ, then there's JK, JKU, JLU, even the, what are they calling the Gladiator now? I see a Gladiator on the far right there.
JT.
Yeah.
JT.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And he used these cars. Pretty
Wow.
bad. Especially the JKs. He banged this car pretty hard.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, definitely, guys. Check them out, wayoflife.com, or hit them up on YouTube. Way of Life. They're also on Instagram. It looks like they're pretty much everywhere. So yeah,
that's pretty connected in social media.
that's awesome. All right, Phil, who'd you bring us this week?
My first FX, which is Mark Riedlin, he runs an excursion. So just off that, I get a lot of inspiration from his builds. He tends to post a lot of DIYs and things like that. But he also wheels this thing really hard. Like he took it to Moab, he's took it to a bunch of places, and isn't afraid to try and squeeze this thing down just about any trail he can come across, which is impressive for a rig that big. And yeah, it's just a real nice truck, and he absolutely puts it to work, and I really like seeing that. And like we were just talking about Texas, he's in Fort Worth, so he does travel a lot to get to the other states that actually have stuff. Like you were commenting, Jack, on how much there is. In Texas is 96% private land. So that's why it's hard. Like I used to live there, and it was, you had to get similar to Patrick, what you were talking about in Germany. Like you'd have to go to an off-road park to get off pavement, really. So yeah, just thought I'd add that in. But yeah, it's a really cool truck. He's a really friendly guy. I've messaged him, asked him questions and stuff, and it's a neat build to follow.
That's really cool. And looking at that, I mean, for being a full-size life, right? For being the full-size vehicle, he's not too scratched up. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Have
Right on.
Patrick, have you ever seen an excursion in Germany?
Yeah, I see an excursion in Germany, and I want to buy one with 18. So I have there a little story with the excursion. I went to a dealership and I want to test drive the car, and yeah, they handed me the keys after a little discussion about my age and the bigger car, and I say, "Yo, give me the car, give me the key, it's okay." And I go out and I want to start the car. The car does nothing, so that's totally died, the car. So I think, what's wrong with this? So I go back in and say, I think there's something wrong with the car. It can't be. Yesterday everything was fine with the car. Okay, so the guy come outside, try it, put the key and start the engine. So, but there's no engine there. The car doesn't work, so he got out, opened the bonnet, and the whole engine is gone. Engine, radiator, everything is gone. And the guy looks in the engine compartment and doesn't get it. What's wrong here? Some guys have stolen the whole engine with the radiators, and everything was in the car overnight. That's one of the best stories I ever have to tell.
That's unreal. Like,
I know, right? That's insane.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's pretty hard.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. You go to the dealer, the engine's stolen.
Yeah.
That's a new one. Like you hear about people stealing wheels and stuff like at the dealership, but not the end. Like that's
pretty tough. Yeah.
Impressive.
It's not a 5 minute deal. So
yeah, you kind of want to watch the security footage. Just like how?
Yeah. I think you need a pretty good NASCAR crew to make this engine work in this short of a time.
Exactly. You know.
I'm sure somebody had a cutting wheel and just cut everything off.
At least one death wheel.
Yes.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
If you know an excursion in person, you know you have a lot to wrenching if you want this engine out of this bay.
Yeah, I've got a step stool just to check the oil.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, that's my first FX. You can check him out on Instagram, Mark Riedlin. That's pretty cool.
All right, Jack,
you run an excursion. You run an excursion because you're trying to take your family all over, right, Phil?
Yeah, exactly. Got 2 boys and my wife and a dog, and it made the most sense. And we do a lot of travel. We're in Arizona, but we do a lot of travel over to California and stuff. And so need something that could haul a bunch of stuff, and we wanted to get off pavement, you know. So it was a great solution.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I mean, yeah, when you got a big family like that, like I remember one time we took my Tundra to California, up to not Disney World. What's the place up there? It's
Disneyland.
No, the other one, Universal Studios. We went up to Universal and we took my Tundra, and I had a camper shell on the back, And so maybe or maybe not, my sons were in the bed of the truck
Oh
in
my
the camper
God.
shell with a, I had put a box back there. I had put like a drawer system and the mattress and everything. And I had actually installed seat belts and lap belts back there because they sell them. You can buy them. You fix
Yeah.
them to the bay. You're good. So yeah, so we did that. Now this is Arizona, so we went in I
There are no
think like
laws.
October. I know, right? Seriously, the wild wild west. But yeah, we went in October and it was fine when we left because we left around like 8 or 9 p.m. and this is Arizona. And so, it's like 70 degrees when we left. That's fine. When we get back on Sunday night to Phoenix, it's not 70 anymore. It's not, like 20, it's not like 19 degrees Celsius. It's 40 degrees Celsius. It's like over 100, right? My sons
Lord.
are like, we're gonna vomit back here. It's so hot. Blah blah blah. Yeah, no. So yes, you made the right choice with the excursion there, Phil. Definitely, if you got a big family like we do, if you got kids, you gotta really get that all enclosed vehicle so that you can bring them along.
Exactly.
Yep.
And the rear air option. Very, very important
That's
option.
very important. Very important. All right.
See-
So Mike, go ahead.
See, Jack, this is why Germany has the TUV. It's because they don't want people just bolting in seatbelts to the back of their truck and strapping their kids down.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a solution.
Hey.
Well, and
What will you do?
yeah, and because people need solutions, that's why it's legal in Arizona, because it's actually they determined that it was kind of what is the word I'm looking for? Discrimination to prevent people from riding in the back of trucks. So it's legal in Arizona. I'm not certain about California because California has a lot of rules, but
Absolutely not. I know because I was pulled over in high school for riding in the back of a friend's truck. Sorry, mom and dad.
Oops. Wah, wah. Well, on that note, we'll talk about Down to Mob Overland. This guy is awesome. He is hilarious. I'm feeling very badly because I've forgotten his name off the top of my head. I've only met him twice. He's hilarious though, and if you check him out on his YouTube videos, really fun content. And right now he's doing something that would not be possible in Germany. He is building this real beast of a JT. You can see from what we've got going on here, he's taken off the bed of the truck, and what's happening is they're building him a kind of a square, like a box. They're building a custom box for him,
Like
and
a
they're
tray
integrating it.
or
Not just a tray. This is you've really got to check him out. He's got some fun stuff, and he keeps talking about the design. I'm still waiting to see it. Come on, bro. We're all waiting to see your box truck design because it's going to be awesome. But he's on 40s. Those are 40-inch tires, and it's legit. He can go pretty much anywhere. He crawls into everything. He gets out of everything. He kind of splits his time between northern Arizona, and Colorado. Spends a lot of time back and forth between those. So he gets to see some of the most beautiful trails. Super jealous. Love the build. It's really cool, really fun. He used to drive a vehicle called the Dodge Mahal. That was the name of it,
cool.
Dodge
That's a great
Mahal.
name.
If you look it up, that was a super fun square box build also that he had on his big Dodge. So yeah, that's my guy for the week. Down to Mob. He always ends his videos with, "And are you down to mob?" So yeah.
Nice. Perfect.
Well, we'll move into our gear reviews now. And here we can talk with Patrick about your favorite gear. What's your favorite gear on the trail, Patrick?
My favorite gear on the trail is the Multi-Fuel Stove from MSR. It's the XGK AX. It's more of the hiking community. It's more expedition stove. On the trail, you're good to go with this. In an RV camp, maybe it's not the best stove to use. It sounds more like a starting fighter plane or a rocket ship or something like this. But it's pretty legit power. So if you need something to boil pretty fast, that's the way to go.
Wow, that's awesome.
And this thing works everywhere. It doesn't, yeah, it's not the biggest problem to get something to boil on sea level. But if you go on high altitude, things change differently. So if you have a normal gas stove, the power is not really quite up to date with liquid stove. So this stove, it doesn't care, is it 2,000 feet or is it on sea level or something like this, or 6,000 feet. So this thing make the job done. So that's important in overlanding.
Yeah.
And yeah. And it's pretty easy to handle. If you have a problem with the injector, you can rattle the thing. They have a pretty nice build. If you shake the whole stove, you can rattle the injector to clean it. There's a little needle in there, and yeah, it's pretty good stuff from this company.
That's awesome. Is that a universal kind of adapter that's on the end so that you can get to the multiple types of fuel, or are there different connectors?
Now there are different injectors. So you can go with normal gas, you can go with diesel, you can go with kerosene. I don't know. Did you guys know what kerosene is? It's more like an airplane fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got kerosene.
Yeah. So this thing takes it all.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, and it's pretty lightweight also. So it's around, close to 500 grams. It's about 200. In the US, it's 250 or something like this. It's pretty light. So it's really, really light.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, we'll definitely include a link in the description on the channel so you guys can find it if you're looking for it. But that's the MSR stove, the XGK Multi-Fuel Stove. Thanks very much, Patrick. And what'd you bring us this week, Phil?
I brought you the Fumoto drain valve. And so this is more of a maintenance item than anything else. It threads into the oil pan where your drain bolt goes and gives you an easy valve that you can use. I actually have one here, so you can take a look out of it. It's a ball valve inside, and the really nice thing is that they've got like a spring and a detent, so it's hard to move. Like nothing on the trail is going to hit this and move this, because you have to put in quite a good amount of effort to get it to turn and actually open up the ball valve. I've run these on pretty much all my cars. They make oil changes easy. You can just grab some hose and connect it in to the end of the valve real easy and run it into your drain pan. And it just easy, clean, fast oil changes. I know it's not like cool overlanding, but in something you never will see because it's on the bottom of the car, but it just makes your everyday maintenance life easy.
Those types of hacks, those kind of tips and tricks, that's the kind of stuff you can find in our Discord channel from folks like Phil, who bring a lot of added value. I mean, if you think about it, that is a huge, that's an easy hack. And these are $25 on Amazon. These are not going to break the bank, but this is like seriously, boom, press the button, slide it over, and you're draining.
Yep.
That's awesome. Think about how much people spend taking their vehicles to go get somebody else to change the oil. Now you can do it real quick.
Exactly.
That's
and
super
you don't
cool.
get messy. Best part is not being messy.
Yeah, seriously. That initial spout of hot oil coming at you. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Very cool. So that's the Fumoto drain valve. Again, we'll have that link on the website for you. And then this week I did the Baofeng UV5Gs. The UV5R is a radio that's been around for a long time. It's a standard in the ham radio community. But this is now the UV5G. For a long time, it's been possible for the 5Rs to receive transmissions from GMRS, but it wasn't legal to transmit on them. And Baofeng was like, well, that's simple. We can comply with the regulations. So they've gone ahead and released the UV5G. And the UV5G does meet all the requirements so that they can have a GMRS band. And these are really great. It's a super simple, it's the same form factor as the UV5R. Everything's the same. The only thing different is the antenna is fixed and the software. So really cool. If we set it up, you can see I've got people actually transmitting. So we'll turn that down. But yeah, it's got, it's got different channels and you can just toggle through. And I wanted to see how well these would work when you're on the road, because some people, because these are so inexpensive, $50 gets you a pair, 50 US gets you a pair of these. They're really great, right? But some people want to use them as vehicle radios. And so we wanted to test and see how well that would do. So let's go ahead and check out the video. All stations, this is Jack, comms check. About a mile away from my son in his car, and hopefully he can hear me. Just a mile down the road. All stations, this is Jack, comms check, please acknowledge. All right, so we are right at a mile and we're in the city. There's not line of sight. So at 1 mile, GMRS did not seem to work. I'm gonna confirm with them and I'll be right back. All right, we're definitely within half of a mile, definitely within a quarter of a mile. So I would not count on these things if you're not within line of sight. That's what this is saying to me. All stations, comm check, this is Jack. All right, so we are at less than a quarter of a mile and we are finally getting connectivity.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, well, that was the UV5Gs. And yeah, as we saw, they do not work greater than a quarter of a mile in the city when you are not line of sight. So it should be interesting to check it out once we are line of sight and back on the road again. Thanks very much. So as you can see, the UV5G is a great radio for close communications, anything less than a quarter of a mile. But if you are trying to use it as your one-stop shop, one solution, I would suggest still getting a vehicle mounted larger unit. But the UV5G is really great for using on the trail, for spotting, and for close communications. Anytime you have a runner get out of the vehicle and you want to maintain close communications within line of sight, they're perfectly suited for that. But I would still suggest get a larger vehicle mount if you're going to be using GMRS radios. All right. That was the UV5G. So, guys, we have done it. We have burned through a whole hour talking Overland, having fun. We got to meet Patrick, aka the Bavarian Overlander. And we hope you guys enjoyed the show. We definitely enjoyed talking to you, Patrick, and we hope to see you around the channel more.
Yeah, for sure. It was a nice hour with you guys. And hook me up on Facebook or Instagram, the Bavarian Overlander. And yeah, cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. And for everybody on the Discord channel, we want to remind you that we're always looking for regional ambassadors. Patrick was our first EU ambassador. And we appreciate our ambassadors because they share the information of the Discord channel out to their fellow community, right? So we thank you, Patrick, for being our first EU ambassador. Share the show with your friends, share the channel, let them know what's going on. And if you guys tune in next time, we'll be talking to Terra Overland. It's set up out of the East Coast, doing overland rentals for folks who want to, you know, grab a vehicle when they're in town and go out and see some of the beautiful areas on the East Coast.
Awesome. Sounds fun.
Good. Yeah,
All right.
sounds pretty interesting also for us from the European country. So if we go to US, and yeah, pretty cool.
Absolutely. Ready built vehicles that they've got ready for you to check out. And he's running the Alpha 1 is their first Jeep in their fleet. So you can check that out if you decide to come over and see the East Coast, Patrick.
Yes, I will check them out. So I wish them good luck with the company. So
Yeah,
maybe
it sounds like
Yeah.
sounds like they're just starting. So we'll go ahead and give them a plug and we'll talk to them next time. Everybody else, we'll see you on the Discord. Thanks for joining us here at Overland Coffee Talks.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Take care. Patrick, thanks
Bye.
for staying up late with us.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good time and go overlanding, enjoy the nature, and yeah, have fun.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.